So looking to just do, again, a really quick high level on social media to help promote clubs, activities, etc. Looking to try to get you in and out of this super quickly. So basically aiming for about 10 minutes of kind of key points to focus on, 10 minutes general Q&A, and then 10 minutes or longer if need or want. If you have particular challenges in your club, happy to crowdsource these, not just myself, but I am serving this year as the public image chair for District 5810, and so trying to make myself available. And just for context, I do run a marketing agency, so that is why I am in this role, and hopefully have at least a little bit of information to share and support. So again, making the recording available afterwards, and always available for anyone who wants any additional help. And I encourage you to watch this video on YouTube from Eric Qualman and Equalman Studios, as it sets a stage for social media in our age and why you need to care. Not produce that, but I thought it gives the positioning like we don't really have a choice. Presents that fairly clearly. And some research by the Pew organization in January, February 2019 is really validating what I'm going to recommend here today is Facebook. We're going to really focus fundamentally on Facebook in today's session because that is where the people are. For men, women, the different ages. So even though the story in the media talks about younger people leaving Facebook, they're still there. So we will still have access to them and diversity across the board. So it is still a good place to be. So going to really kind of do 10 major points, again, aiming to get through this really quickly. So we want to focus on doing pages, not groups. Groups are going to be navel gazing, talking to ourselves, and a lot of what we're trying to do, especially from a public image standpoint, is getting the message out to the masses. So if we have a group, we're very limited in what we can do, who we can reach, as well as some other functionality that Facebook makes available to pages. So if you have a group, work on like a 30-day plan to transition them onto a page. So that would be the first recommendation. The other major thing to really start with your club working on is liking and sharing. So as we probably know, if you're bothering to be on this call, that algorithm is the word of the day. And the algorithm is looking for human validation that what we're posting is of interest and might be of interest to others. So getting our club members, if they have a Facebook profile, to go ahead and like and share the content, because that's going to trigger the algorithm. Well, if these people like it, then other people might like it. And even for the existing members, if you are using Facebook as a way to keep information in front of club members, then they won't see it in their feed either if they don't like and share. So it'll drop off because Facebook will assume, oh, well, they're interested in something else. We're not going to use the limited news feed, the limited wall space to show things they're not interested in. So having people regularly like and share is really, really important. Have people tag when you're posting something and you're trying to get the word out. You want to do like an @ group, @ profile, @ page, and so that gets it onto their feed, gives them a notification. So using that @ function is going to be really important. I know with our club that as we're trying to get the word out, we're regularly tagging, as this is referred to, a lot of the Rotaract clubs, Rotaract groups. So that's a way of getting awareness. If there are other civic organizations, chambers of commerce, wherever those target recruitment organizations are, those are great ones to do this @ mention. And you know, maybe you're building alliances with Toastmasters, since we do have from Rotary International partnership with them. Maybe it's building a friendly relationship with your local Lions group. So it's just a way to really try to get the word out. While you're doing that, you don't want to spit. So there's a fundamental, when Facebook got started, it was a social network. And that was actually the name of the movie for anyone who saw it. And then there was social media. And if we think of media in terms of like TV stations, radio, what they're doing is they're pushing a message out. But if we think of networking, like going to a Chamber of Commerce event, it's a two-way, it's an interactive, it's building relationship. And as people have started to approach Facebook or any of these platforms as media, we're just thinking we can just put our message out, you know, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, and you should care. But it just doesn't work that way, and people don't want to be treated that way. And so when we're just putting our stuff out there, it's really like spitting at people. So try to engage, build relationships. So don't just advertise your things, but if you have potential new members, if you are working with an Interact or Rotaract group, excuse me, because watch your age requirements if under 18, with your chamber, with you know, different organizations in the community. If there is a community Facebook page, you want to be involved. You want to be proactive. You want to be reaching out. Rotarians, we reach out into the world. So let's model that with our social media profiles and be like, hey, great job, even if it's not something Rotary did, but other people, you know, did something at the local school or in honor of Veterans Day or whatever it might be, to be proactive in wishing people well. If you see other organizations wishing someone a happy birthday in their organization, go ahead and add your happy birthday greetings as well. So engage, don't spit. An important thing about how the algorithms in Facebook work, and this is something that Zuckerberg had announced directly, was that they were adjusting the algorithms so that it wasn't that people responded to what you post, but that they engaged in dialogue with one another. And that really ties back to that whole networking versus media approach. So if you have Zuckerberg saying that's a really important thing and across all the properties that Facebook owns, so think Instagram as one of those, then that's what you really want to do. You want to spark conversation. You want to spark engagement. And again, getting people to dialogue with one another. And when we think of peace and conflict resolution as one of our 6 areas of focus with Rotary, that's actually part of service. So we can provide and initiate opportunities to build community in our communities online. So just to try to think about, are there ways that you can better implement that? Events are a really great way to be making your posts. So rather than just doing a traditional post announcing your upcoming meetings, then try doing them as events. So there'll be automatic reminders that get sent out from Facebook, showing up on people's feeds and the walls and the reminder area. And you can track responses better for sharing, all of that. So there's a lot more promotion you can do around events than just traditional posts. And then of course, if you are doing some sort of fundraiser or special event, to go ahead and use the events. And so we saw in the video, everyone except for Dan, sorry about that, that 80% of mobile consumption is video. So we don't want to not be doing some videos with our Facebook feed, but assume that the sound will be off. So you're going to want to have text with it. And actually Facebook, if you're going to upload a video, requires you to have a special file format that has that text. That's actually really good for accessibility and meeting those requirements. And since Rotary does want to be inclusive and supportive, then having that text part will be really valuable. But even having it as part of the video with the text and just some sort of royalty-free music in the background is fine. But just make sure that you don't assume that someone will have the audio on. The other thing with video is that people are really getting into, whether on Facebook or YouTube, but especially on Facebook, of live streaming, say, their meetings. The problem is a lot of times people leave out the really critical piece, is that you need someone monitoring your Facebook page at the time and responding to people's comments, encouraging people to like and share and comment during the live stream. If you just use this, again, as media, and so, oh, I can broadcast my meeting, I can broadcast my message, that's not how Facebook wants it used, and they will actually punish you if you do it that way. If you are streaming, because you're using up a lot of their bandwidth, and if they're not seeing the value, i.e. people are engaging, then they're not going to keep showing you, and there can be a cascade effect. So make sure that if you do live stream here, and YouTube same way, although it's not as critical on YouTube, it is recommended that you definitely on Facebook, if you live stream, you want to make sure that you have someone monitoring that broadcast, that feed, encouraging likes, shares, comments, and responding to any comments that people make. Hashtags, so that number sign, that's a really important part, but not as critical with Facebook as, say, Twitter or Instagram. For Facebook, generally try to max at 3 hashtags, and you want it to be really ones that people would be looking for. Um, on Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, and you can cross promote. So if you post it on Instagram, you can have it show up in your Facebook feed, and that is usually the preferred direction. That Instagram, I believe you can go up to 30 hashtags, and you can have a little more fun there of it being kind of more expressing. Like the other day, I was Outlook fail. Something that was supposed to be a reply was a reply all. I'm sure everyone has been there. So Instagram, I might do Outlook fail, but that's not something people on Facebook would necessarily be searching for or trying to filter. So I wouldn't necessarily use that on Facebook. And I was going to add something else with that, and it just left me. So if it comes back, I'll mention it. Sorry. Stories is another huge thing. So while we're not necessarily saying to go on to Snapchat right now, from Snapchat and the popularity with a younger demographic, that Facebook and again, its property Instagram are doing stories. So it's about 19 seconds to have either a mini video, a lot of times as a selfie type, or to do like sequence pictures, and there's different apps to help you put these together if you don't do the selfie video. And those are really popular, and they are increasingly popular, and Facebook is putting a lot of focus on those. Why? Because every third one is paid. So Facebook wants the money. So you got to go where the ads are, you got to go where the people are. So stories is something you really want to consider doing, and the research is showing that a lot of people are never going down to the feed. They're only sticking with the stories, which are up at the top, and especially if people are consuming on mobile, they're just swiping to the side and the next one shows and it will autoplay the next one. So to think about stories. A couple of bonus items. So we talked about doing the events. You can do Facebook ads to promote and boost those events. For the most clubs, the other options for advertising on Facebook, not sure. I mean, driving people to a website or as a lead, any of that, it's just not really the user experience for potential members or for us. If you're advertising your event, then advertise the event, but it would be kind of few cases that the other options would really make much sense, especially if you're putting ad dollars behind it. So events would be the recommendation. If you're not familiar with Canva, CANVA.com, for making your Facebook posts, Instagram, etc., try it out. It's free. Recommendation is to have a Gmail account for the whole club and to have the Canva account set up in that name so that the appropriate people and never just one person in the club has access to get into it. If your club has a foundation and you do fundraisers in association with that, Canva does have a application process for a free Teams account, which does make life a lot easier. So it provides a lot more images that you can use for free, as well as sort of a one-click, still needs a little modification, but let's say you create your event Facebook post for Facebook. With the click of a button, it'll create for your Instagram, for your Twitter, for your YouTube, your different covers, all of that. So that can make life a lot easier. So that, again, that feature comes with the paid, and you can apply to try to get a free nonprofit one with your foundation, obviously staying within the guidelines of the 4-way test. And otherwise you can get the free account and it still will make your life a lot easier because it just has the sizes already set and optimized for the different platforms, and has a lot of free images, text, layouts, some really great resources. A phenomenal tool that Rotary International has put together is this app, peopleofactionphotos.com. I'll bring that up in just a moment. But this is something that you can access even from your phone. It's not technically something you can download, but for the whole Together We, like, it does it for you. It has some templates, but it also where you can upload. And if you have a Rotaract club that you're working with or an Interact club, let them know about this as well. They don't have to be logged into Brand Center, and can use this to help promote the club right now. And a final note is with Meetup. So there's a lot of conversation about using meetup.com for meetings, for example, which is great. The recommendation is, though, make sure, and this ties to the people you get to like and share your Facebook posts, there's a minimum of 3 people, preferably more, who say yes, like instantly as soon as you post it, because no one wants to go to something where no one else is going. If it looks like it's an unpopular event, it actually is bad public image, not good. So just make sure if you do choose to go that route, that you have a minimum of 3 people, preferably more, who regularly and immediately respond yes to attending the event. So that was my sharing a lot of information very quickly. And so I want to open it up if people have questions. And I can also pull up that People of Action page. Dan, do you have a question?
Oh, me?
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to let you know that I'm watching this on my phone, and to get to the video, I just needed to page over. So
oh, okay.
I did get to see the video on the thing.
Awesome. Oh, thank you for letting me know.
Took me a while to catch up on that. But I appreciate all the information.
Excellent. Oh, good. Well, glad if any of it's helpful. Great. And Daddy, didn't get to welcome you in, so thank you for joining us. Do you have any questions, comments, suggestions?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Dave, John, Lori, any comments, feedback? Nope. Yes, no.
I think that, thank you for the information. I think the algorithm information was a little different than what I'd heard before.
Okay.
So it was helpful. It was sort of like the next layer of information for me. So thank you for sharing that.
Yep, absolutely. And it does share, or I'm sorry, it does change constantly. Social Media Examiner, for anyone who's really into this, Social Media Examiner is like the Bible for what works in social media, which is part of their tagline. It's a great source, and they really research, they reverse engineer, they have access to to a lot of the people and the companies. So it is a good place to find out. So that's where that information had come. But again, it's constantly changing. So what works today may not be tomorrow.
What
So
did you
Dan,
say that was? Social media?
Social Media Examiner. And I'll
Thank
drop
you.
that in the chat. And Dan, it looks like you,
Yeah, one more. Hey, I mean, we're a older club, so we're getting a few people in there that have some social media experience. But I'm guessing that, I mean, our tendency would be to have one person in charge of that and try to filter or try to channel all of the pictures and stuff that the members might get through that one person, or what's the best way to structure that?
yeah, so having one person who really owns, so that whole, you know, responsible, accountable, consulted, informed type approach is really valuable for continuity, making sure that whatever kind of the club standards are being maintained. So that is a really good approach. At the same time, you want to make sure that not just one person has access. If they leave, if the proverbial bus hits them, you don't want to be trapped. It's a big responsibility for just one person. So it can be overwhelming, and you don't want people to feel resentful. So that is something that if you can have, you know, one key person, but maybe they're able to train and monitor and coach, you know, okay, will you do the meetings? Okay, you know, will you do this part of this event? You do that part and you do that part. Some of those sorts of things. Does that get at what you're asking or no?
Yes, that was going to be my next question. What happens when you know you need to change administrators, you know, of the social media program? So it's best just to put a team together for them to work on that there.
Yes, and again, if you set up, so Facebook, you have to be an actual person to be added as an admin for a page. Like, you have to exist in the real world. But you can have additional people on with different levels of permission. Some people might just be an editor. You know, you can set those different. But once you have an actual person, those people could have multiple emails. So to the extent that you can, if you can have, as you know, like a backup email or whatnot, whatever this club Gmail might be, and suggest that because it's free, then that's the recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions, suggestions, thoughts?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
It's Dave here in Bangkok. How are you doing that Rotary district behind you? I thought it was actually a banner behind you, but it's actually not. You've got two images there.
It is within Zoom, the platform we're currently using, that they do offer a add background image. So I uploaded this graphic that Pam Blankency for our district. She is our webmaster and social media guru. So uploaded that and had actually done this mirror function in Zoom, had turned that functionality on, which for those who were in a little early to the meeting, actually goes against everything I've ever been taught. Should never flip faces and things like that. But to have the letters legible, had to do that.
It's a Zoom function. I'll look it up on Zoom
Yep.
and see what it's called. Yep. Okay.
Yep. And let's see. And
I did like your talk about spitting.
I'm sorry, the which?
The talk about spitting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I found that interesting analogy. That's all.
Yeah, it's easy to fall into, back to Dan's point, of just who has time. You know, we're trying to do so much, but it's going to just be more effective. Better to do less but do it well, because now we may also recruit or have more resources to expand. So and again, just seeking confirmation, am I sharing this app, People of Action Photos screen?
Yes, a little small, but yes, you are.
Okay, yeah, so let's see if I, will it go any larger? So yeah, so this is just, I almost cried. I was so excited when I first learned about it. So whether you're, you know, you can upload a new or use one of the sample images, and then, you know, there's a whole series for Rotary, Rotaract, Interact. They provide you with the theme. You can do master brand. So resize. Do all that. And then if you need to add anything else, add other text, can save and download. And if you go under the rodeo,
POF photos.
so it's a pretty, you know, easy, uses same sort of interactions you'd expect from other platforms. But, you know, maybe we want to be, that we transform. And again, since you can access this on your phone, because it is a website that you can then post straight to your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, straight from your phone while you're out doing these action shots. It's a really great tool. So fantastic. So again, had been trying to aim for a quick half hour. I know we're a little over that, but hopefully people found this useful, and hope that you'll join us for future recordings. Thanks.